Did you own a home in 2008 or know someone who did? Well, if buying or selling a home is on your mind, you likely know about the housing crash that took place back in. And any news about an economic slowdown right now might bring all those concerns back to the surface. While those feelings are definitely understandable, let's look at some data to help reassure us that we're not going to see a repeat of 2008. One of the key reasons the market's not going to crash this time is the current undersupply of inventory. Housing supply comes from three places: existing homes that current homeowners are putting on the market, newly built homes that are coming on the market, and distressed properties. Those are short sales or foreclosures that the owners are not going to be able to remain in and can't get it sold. For the housing market to crash, you'd have to make a case for an oversupply of inventory headed to the market. And these numbers just don't support that. Let's take a deeper look at the inventory and where it's coming from today to help prove why the housing market isn't headed for a crash. Current homeowners selling their homes. Now, even though the housing supply is increasing this year, there's still a limited number of existing homes for sale. This graph helps illustrate this point. Based on the latest weekly data, inventory is up 27.8% compared to the same week last year. But compared to that same week in 2019, it's down 42.6%. So what does this mean? Inventory is still historically low. There simply aren't enough homes on the market to cause prices to crash. There would need to be a flood of people getting ready to sell their homes in order to tip the scales toward a buyer's market. And that level of activity simply isn't there. I don't know of a ton of people getting ready to sell. Now, newly built homes. There's a lot of talk about what's happening with newly built homes today, and it might make you wonder if we're overbuilding. Home builders are actually slowing down their production right now. Ali Wolf, the chief economist for Zondo, notes this: it's become a very competitive market for builders where they are trying to offload any standing inventory. I'm seeing a lot of builders offering incentives of paying closing costs and other things to try to get their completed inventory off their books. So to avoid repeating the overbuilding that happened leading up to the housing crisis, builders are reacting to these higher mortgage rates and softening buyer demand by actually slowing down their work. It's a sign that they're being very intentional about not overbuilding any homes like they did during the bubble. And according to the latest data from the U.S. Census, at today's current pace, we're headed to build a seasonally adjusted annual rate of about 1.4 million homes this year. This will definitely add more inventory to the market, but it's not on pace to create an oversupply because builders today are being more cautious than the last time when they built more homes than the market could absorb. Now, distressed properties. The last place inventory can come from is distressed properties. This is short sales and foreclosures. Now, back in the housing crisis, there was a flood of foreclosures due to lending standards that allowed many people to secure a home loan that they couldn't truly afford. You might have even been able to get one of those homes back then. But today, lending standards are much tighter and they result in more qualified buyers and far fewer foreclosures. The graph below uses data from Atom Data Solutions on properties with foreclosure filings to help paint the picture of how things have changed since the crash. You can see that this graph shows how in the time around the housing crash, there were over 1 million foreclosure filings per year. And as lending standards tightened since then, the activity started to decline. In 2020 and 2021, the forbearance program was a further aid to help prevent a repeat of the wave of foreclosures we saw back around 2008. Now, that program was a game changer, giving homeowners options for things like loan deferrals and modifications that they didn't have before. And data on the success of the program shows that 4 out of every 5 homeowners coming out of forbearance are either paid in full or have worked out a repayment plan to avoid foreclosure. That's great news for them, not great for somebody who's looking for a bargain. These are a few of the biggest reasons why we don't expect to see a wave of foreclosures coming onto the market. Although the housing supply is growing this year, the market certainly isn't anywhere near the inventory levels that would cause home prices to drop significantly. That's why inventory tells us that the housing market isn't going to crash. I'm Jeff Jones, the Mid-South Home Guy with eXp Realty. When you want to sell or buy, call me, the Mid-South Home Guy. Have a blessed day.